author, speaker, business coach, business owner, helping business owners increase profits through his strength-based marketing platform. In fact, here's his book right here, and you can see right next to me is the man that is adept at not only increasing profits, but increasing engagement with both employees and customers. Ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Dewar. I was waiting for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sound effects do help. Chuck, it's always a pleasure to be on the phone with you or on a video with you. You're a brilliant marketer. You're a specialist in HR. You create engagement in a massive way, even in a virtual world. Even having developed a course for that, I'm so honored that I'm on with you.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Patrick is the one that inspired me to bring the HR and leadership show to fruition and conduct these series of videocast and podcast interviews. So for that, Patrick, I do salute you. Cheers.
Thank you so very much. And I'll bring out my father's knows best because, hey, I have 4 kids. No, anyways.
Yeah, talk to me about that mug. You did bring a mug for us today, correct?
Yeah, it's just it's my favorite because my kids got it for me. And, you know, there was that day when my oldest son walked up to me after basic, shook my hand, and said, "Dad, I just want you to know that you were right. I was wrong, and I'm sorry." And my head exploded.
Perfect.
I was sitting there thinking, oh my gosh. You know, when my son was 13, I'm convinced that he was visited in the night by a celestial being, touched in the head, and given all knowledge and understanding because parental influence no longer had relevance in his life. And I'm pretty certain there's a lot of parents out there that are just like me. So when he said that, all I could think is, oh my gosh, the mothership returned my son.
That's wonderful. And I cannot wait to hear how you do that same technique with customers and employees and help businesses affect that same change. But let's go ahead, talk to the audience today about who you are and your journey.
Thanks. I know we don't have a lot of time on this. It could probably take 3 days, and some of you know I could probably talk longer than you could listen. Let's just say that 20 years ago, I went through a life transformational process where I began to realize that there are negative tapes that hold us back. There are areas of our life where we don't process the hurts and the pains, and they derail you. And then there are parts of our lives that if we would just tap into them, I call it your internal motivational gift or strength, that everything could be realigned. Now, the first time I saw that, it was a little 7-question test, and I thought it was a joke. I went, "Are you for real? This is nah." And it said that teaching was my internal motivational gift. And I kid you not, I looked at that and went, no way. There's no way. I'm not smart enough to teach. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, where's that coming from? And it was a seed. And I think all of us know there's seeds in our life that are planted when somebody says something at a pivotal moment in our life. Well, first day of college, I sat down my academic advisor, and she said, "Mr. Dewar, do you realize that 99% of all of the rest of the freshmen are older placed above you?" And all I could think is, wow, I've never been called an idiot so professionally all my life. I nearly proved her right, but I finally figured it out. Got my BS degree. Woohoo! It's not all BS, Chuck. But the point is that after college, I never wanted to be called an idiot ever again. And so I began to learn how to read faster, remember more. And I studied accelerated learning. I learned to read really fast, and remember whatever I want, lists, presentation, notes, names. And so I was reading at least a book a week or better for a lot of years, probably 20 years, when I thought, where's that coming from? And the one thing about these limiting beliefs or negative tapes, the solution is to confront them with the adult truth, not the child's truth. Now, that may seem, kind of soft skill, whatever. But the reality is that how many times in our lives, how many times in your life have you had that situation where you could have moved forward, but something inside you said, I'm not enough. And if you listen to it, you didn't take action. And the adult truth is, you've learned how to process information, remember what you want, you've learned lessons, and it's no longer that child's mind in play. Your adult mind is what can shift everything. And so I remember I sat there and I think, if this gift is in me, then I'm going to start using it. And my life shifted. Within 6 months, I was being asked to speak around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I started teaching a 3-day event on how to find your purpose and your passion. I did it 13 times a year for over 10 years. And it opened up the door for me to move into professional speaking, business coaching, running mastermind groups for $1 million plus businesses, and even opened the doors for me to do radio and TV and all kinds of the stuff.
Right.
And so, yeah, I look at that and I go, what would it be like if people could find that just their primary? So we all have lots of gifts in us. It's like the personality styles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Chuck, as an HR person, how many different personality style tools did you employ in all the years that you were in HR?
Sure. I can think of the DISC profiles, communication style profile, which there's a billion different variations on that. There's the official, then there's people who built their own. There's the colors, there's the Myers-Briggs, there's
and
a
lions
whole
and tigers and bears and
oh my, exactly.
I mean, that's what I saw. And even now that they have all this stuff on strengths, but the biggest mistake that everybody makes in those things is they learn about kind of some characteristics in them, and I go, that's one, that's not the right way to use them.
Mm-hmm.
The right way to use them is to be able to read others. And what's nice about learning your gift is awesome, but can you recognize it? For 10 years, I ran this 3-day event, and I've run as a leader all of the organizations I've been a part of. I identify their gift where they really get charged up, that thing that you do that you never can get tired of. I identify it like that, and then I use that, and I tap into that, and I tie the mission of the organization to their passion.
Yeah.
And in so doing, it creates more engagement.
No, I love that model. So, and that's why I wanted to have you on the show today, because there's so much you have to offer. I mean, you've written a book. I said you were an author. At some point, I'd love to have you back on the show to talk more about strength-based marketing. But one of the things that did resonate with me was when we had the conversation on the gifts. And that's so true. Once you know your gift, it creates more engagement. And did you use the term more joy, more enjoyment?
Yeah, more enjoyment,
Yeah.
and real passion to be a part of the organization, and to be able to fulfill the mission of that company. I mean, those are the things that I see. If you can, it's like you want to flip that switch in people, because have you ever sat there and had that one person in your organization that every time you get within 8 feet of them, every muscle in your body locks. And
Mhm.
inside of your head, you're screaming, if you would just get off your butt and do something, you could be so good at this. You know what I'm talking about, Chuck, right?
Absolutely. 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 And you've been really good as a folks. Patrick is a business coach and he can bring this model to you. And I was hoping you could just share for our audience just a taste of that because
You know,
it's
that
so
would be,
exciting.
thank you, thank you, thank you. I was the one thing I was really hoping to be able to do. So I'm going to take the helm, so to speak. And this is the test that I was talking about, really finding your purpose. And the first decision you have to make on this little short 7-question test is are you a person that naturally in your life's history do you tend to be one that would rather work with your hands or speak with your mouth? If it's work with your hands, then what we're going to do is we're going to go down the hands aisle. Now the speakers just hush for a second and I'll get to you in a second. But for the hands people, that's your natural. What you want to do is as you walk through this, you're just looking at, do you respond more to people's practical needs or how they feel? If it's how they feel, you're going to write down the number 1 and you're done. You can just wait a few minutes. And if it's people's practical needs, then would you rather help someone in need by doing something for them or giving them money? If it's doing, then you want to put you put a number 3 down. If it's giving money, number 4, and you're done. And just pause for a second, and then we'll come back to you in a second. Okay. Now, if you're a person that likes to speak with their mouth and more expressive, then to form an opinion about something, would you probably go by what you feel or believe already, or research it until you're confident? If it's research it, then put write down number 2. And if it's fly by the seat of your pants, so to speak, in giving advice, do you give practical steps of action or quote a reference as a basis for action? If it's quote something, write down number 5. If it's give practical steps of action, do you find that you adapt easily to any situation or get frustrated with red tape and delays? Adapting, number 6. Get frustrated, number 7. And then that's it. That's the test. You should have exactly 1 number in front of you. Only 1 number. Because we're looking for that biggest part of you. We all have some of these things. Now, let me show you what the numbers really stand for. And they stand for these internal motivational gifts, like mercy is number 1. 2 is teaching. 3, serving. 4, giving. 5, professing. 6, exhortation. And 7, administration. Awesome. So
Yeah.
you want to, if you have the number 1, that gift of mercy, 2, teaching, serving, straight through. I was number 2, teaching. I know, Chuck, you were number 6, exhortation, big time. And it makes total sense, especially when you look at, and I'm going to fly through these pretty quickly. So all I'm going to do is go key points of mercy, always looking for the good in people, high empathy, always feeling that emotional stress around you. Teaching, presents the truth in a logical, systematic way, loves to study and do research, tends to neglect the practical application. Sometimes we know what to do. We don't do, we know to do. So service, it's kind of like a mercy with feet because you see what needs to take place and you move towards it. You see the socks on the floor. You see that piece of something that's out of order. You just go and fix it. You have a need to feel appreciated, though you don't want somebody to like give a ticker tape parade for you. When you look at giving, these are that number 4 was giving. And it's amazing. They really understand that process of seed, time, and harvest. So many times they're really good at business, and they're really good at understanding how to attract the resources that are needed. I mean, they're amazing. They'll walk up to you and go, "Hey, Chuck, it's Betty's birthday next week. Give me $2." And they'll hold their hand out in front of you, just going, it's crazy. And believe me, I've had that person in front of me, and I had $2 in their hand going, I didn't even like Betty at that point, whatever. So professing is someone who speaks the truth. A lot of times, even when you don't want it, they'll tell you how the cow ate the cabbage. They're just straight. There's black and white, on, off, right, wrong. That's it. Very outspoken. Exhortation, loves to encourage others. Chuck, how many times in your life you said, if I can do it, you can do it. And people believe you. It's amazing, that cheerleader, that person that is always out to set others free. And then administration, it's amazing. These people bring order to chaos. They see what's going on. They bring order just by bringing the resources together, making those things so, and getting things done in a way that is very systematic. The most amazing thing about these is that when you understand what that gift is, I want to take it to another level. And it has to do with, one day I had heard this story about these 3 guys, Bill Bright, Francis Schaeffer, and Lauren Cunningham, that got together, and one had an idea of mountains of influence to change a culture. Another had pillars. And then, the third one was like stones or something. My point, though, is that I found that and these guys realized that there were 7 mountains or pillars of influence to change a culture, whether it's religion, family, education, media, arts, entertainment, government, and business. Well, then some of my friends and I started looking at this, and we went, wow, isn't it interesting that mercy and family are so connected? Teaching, education, serving, arts and entertainment, giving, business, professing, media. They're supposed to tell the truth. Exhortation. I'd say the word religion, but I want to encourage you to substitute that with spiritual. That enthusiasm, which that's a Latin word that breaks down to fill with a spirit, fill with the spirit. And so don't get hung up on religion. It's not about religion.
No, I get it, though. That makes sense.
Yeah. And then administration, government, duh. Well, then when you look at these different areas, I think, wouldn't it be cool if somebody has high mercy, think of, where's the family that you work with? Now, it doesn't necessarily mean your own personal family. It could mean the family in your workplace, and how that mercy is engaging those people, or your customers, and how you feel what's going on, and you can help them solve their problems. Teaching, any form of training. If you're really good at research, and you can bring it in, and then you can translate it inside so that other people can hear it, then be engaged in that. You work with your clients that way. You work with your team that way. Now, arts and entertainment, it's amazing how many different areas this goes into. One of my good friends, a guy named Rob Skiba, who is a movie maker, arts and entertainment. And he is making movies that are about what's in his heart and what he wants to bring out. Giver, business. I've seen amazing business people. There's One of my friends in this area, a guy named Saul David, amazing businessman, and he is a huge giver and attracts the resources that are necessary for whatever they're doing. Brilliant, amazing. So you can see media, exhortation. These are the things that if we tapped into and attached where they get their charge
Yeah.
to the mission of the organization, now all of a sudden, massive results in everything that that people are they're trying to achieve. So with that, I'll flip the screen back over to you and say, I hope you got something out of that, because it's just about that really finding that passion.
Yeah. So let me just tell you a few things that I like about that. It's simple. That is a very simple questionnaire. It is a very simple model. If once I understand my my core strength, my core value, my core gift, and how, as a business owner, would I take that and roll it out to my team? And then what do we do with it afterwards? And is that something that you can help facilitate?
Yeah, and it's once we understand ours, that's good. It's better to know all 7
Mm-hmm.
and be able to read it in people, because for over 10 years, I saw how powerful that was running the 3-day event. We're out of 18 trainers in an event, and you get pretty good at reading what somebody is. It shows up. It's like personality styles, but only it's what they're designed to really be a part of. And so I would create teams that were real synergistic in every way. And then I would assign tasks based on their gifts. I'm not going to take Mercy necessarily and put them in a speaking role unless they've practiced and really kind of raise that gift up. But I might take a teacher like that, an administrator. I'll use them in that area because they're good at communication. If I need somebody that is really good for morale, I'm going to find that exhortation and put them in some key areas of influence.
Right. And they're not only good at it, but it's their passion. So, people will say, well, you're really good at that. Yeah, but I don't really like doing that. Okay. But this is, they're good at it and they enjoy it. And when you can identify that, and what's that term you always use? Connect your passion to your, it creates movement. Show the audience that.
Connecting, I just say, you always want to connect your passion with your profession.
Yes.
And what's really nice is if you can connect your purpose and your passion with your profession, then you do what you love to do and get paid for it.
Right.
Send an invoice, right?
That's awesome. The exciting thing is I feel like that's what I'm doing now that I've gone out as a HR consultant, HR coach, trainer, speaker. I absolutely love doing that. I love doing these interviews. And folks, like I said, Patrick is the one that's inspired me. He's been a friend. He's been a coach. You're my muse.
You complete me.
Yeah, you complete me, Patrick. So with that all being said, we're getting short on our time, and you have so much more to share. I would love to have you back on the show in a few weeks to talk more about what you have to offer. But let's talk about now. If people want to get in touch with you now, how could they do that, and what would the experience be like?
Well, thank you. And actually, the easiest way to do it is we've got this group called Strength-Based Marketing on Facebook. You could join that. Another way that I think is far more useful is send me an email. Okay. And I'm going to give you the simple email, and then I'll tell you my website afterwards. The simple email goes like this: Patrick, Patrick, at DOER, which is the way you pronounce my last name, DOER, like doer, like get her done. DOER success, SUCCESS.com. Patrick at doersuccess.com. Boom. And just send me a note. Maybe if you want to see the test, I'll shoot you the PDFs. And if you want to learn more, let's start a dialogue. The other thing you can do is go out to, this is a little longer, so you're going to have to write this down. It's DOER, doer, and then 10, like 10, and then K, like for 1,000. DOER 10K, 10K. Business strategies with all the S's in them. Businessstrategies.com. Doer 10K businessstrategies.com. And there are 4 videos out there that are all on lead generation, marketing, best practices, and I even have an email for that, which is Patrick at Doer 10K Business Strategies, which you connect to me. They kind of all come to the same computer. But my purpose in that is to try to say there's value. My book is on Amazon, but if you're interested in it, just send me a note, and what I'll do is I'll sign a copy for you. I got a few here, and send you an invoice for $20. And what I'll do is I'll actually include my second book that I was in this year, which was actually a what do they call it? Like several different authors.
Compilation.
It's a compilation. There's an anthology.
Anthology.
And this was a success recipe that I was in. But my point is, I'll send both of them to you for $20. Normally those are a little more. It's not about the money. It's ideas are what creates success. My mentor used to say, if you want to change what you are and where you are, you have to change what goes into your mind from this point. And the guy that said that's no longer with us, his name was Zig Ziglar. And I got to work with Zig as one of his speakers. He said, Pat, you got to rinse and repeat enough on anything to get it past the conscious mind into the unconscious mind, because lasting change comes from the unconscious mind. And I so agree with that. So I appreciate you asking that, Chuck. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, Patrick, fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Doer, author, business coach, keynote speaker. I have been working with Patrick to help me out with my own direction and business. GetHRHelpNow.com is my website. If you need HR help, come see me. Leadership, business coaching, core strengths, core gifting. Check out Patrick's stuff. Check out Strength-Based Marketing on Facebook. Patrick, thanks for being here today.
Chuck, always an honor. Thank you.